Okay, so let's see what kind of situation do we have at the moment on NZD CAD. Now let's start from the monthly time frame. Let's see what we have. Now on the monthly, we can see that the market has created this impulse followed by a nice correction, continuation to the downside, basically rejection to the upside, and at that point what we can see. If you have a careful eye, what we can notice is that basically the market currently is facing some strong resistance. Now, how can we notice that the market is basically facing strong resistance? A quick trick that you can use is basically go down on the line chart, and what you will see that the market currently at this level has this previous close. Now, monthly closes are very strong levels in the market, and specifically in this case, you can see that the market is basically reacting to this monthly close. This was basically the previous low, which was support here, which is now turned resistance at this area. And in fact, what we can see is that is exactly the level at which the market is basically finding this resistance. So everything at the moment is lining up for a possible, basically a rejection to the downside, which has already happened. Now, what we can do if we go down on the weekly chart is basically to notice that the market has failed to break this low very aggressively. Fake breakout down, break back up, very aggressive movement in the market. And then basically we had a deceleration approaching this resistance from a monthly perspective before this drop to the downside. Now, if we go down on the daily, what we can see now on the daily, things start getting very interesting. First of all, let's go and see what we have from a COT perspective on these two currencies. And as you will see, we have a very basically interesting situation. In fact, if we go and see what is the situation from a CAD perspective, if we check the order flow from hedge funds, what we can see that overall they have a pretty bearish outlook on the CAD. So the big speculators in the market are quite bearish from a CAD perspective. In fact, what you can see is that we went from 10k net positions to minus 32k net positions. So from having longs outweighing shorts to having shorts outweighing longs with 49k short positions and 16.9k long positions. So CAD is quite bearish, but if we go and see what is the situation from an NZD perspective, we can see that NZD is getting bearish as well. Okay, we can see that we are now sitting at a basically minus 15k net positions with 61.3% short exposure from a hedge fund perspective. So both are quite bearish. So what will the NZD be more bearish than the CAD, or will the CAD be more bearish than the NZD? That is something that we don't know. What we do know, however, is that the market from here has created an information. Therefore, we should see at some point the market make a possible move to the upside. So how we will be approaching this with students? Now, first of all, we have to notice that from a 4-hour perspective, everything is bearish. The market hasn't shown any sign of bullishness. The market basically continued to create lower lows and lower highs. And until this will basically be the case, we will never be looking for possible longing opportunities with students. But this could change in the future. And we know that the market has created this information. So how we will be approaching this pair, basically with students, we will be monitoring price action on the 4-hour time frame inside of this area, waiting for the market to shift from a bearish market to a bullish market, and basically to see the market provide to us one of our valid entries. If this will happen, so a shift from a bearish to bullish and the creation of one of our valid entries, then we will be taking a long position with a good risk to reward and good probabilities for the completion of the information, and then possible continuation to the downside, but that will depend on how strong this pullback will be. So that is something that will be keeping you guys also updated here on TradingView, depending on if this pullback will come or if the market will just continue to melt to the downside without showing any bullish price action. But at the moment, monitoring price action for a possible shift from a bearish market to a bullish market and creation of one of our valid entries. Now, if you enjoyed this free analysis and education, make sure you drop a like and a comment. It really does support the creation of more free education and analysis for all of you, and I will see you in the next video.